Beyond the Veil family, happy Monday. Happy day of the moon to all of you. Welcome to Beyond the Veil with Adina. I am Adina and I am so happy to meet you. If this is your first time um, joining one of these lives or finding my platform, welcome. I am your resident hostess, obviously, but also a resident or the resident medium and oracle here on this channel. We do readings and divinations and things of that sort. So if that's not your thing, I understand. I'm not for everybody, and that's okay. I invite you to leave in peace as to not disturb my community. And if you are new around here, but you're into that kind of thing, I welcome you to stay. To all of my returning viewers, my busted babies, OG subscribers, bush watchers, and everything in between. Happy Monday, happy day of the moon to all of you. Please let me know how you're doing as you come into the live. I like to know how everybody's doing. I like to greet everyone as they come in so that I can acknowledge you all. And I love how you all usually greet each other. Hello, Mama Fakit. Hello, Big JD. Welcome, ladies. Happy Monday. How are you? Oh, we call that a Charlie horse. I'm so sorry. Drink some water. That's what they say when you get a Charlie horse, drink some water. That's what the old people said. And eat bananas, JD? Okay. I love bananas, but I am allergic to them. And I found that out in the worst way, eating a banana and going to the hospital. Hi, Sony Beloved. How are you, dear? Hey, Miss Rhonda. Happy Monday, ladies. Oh, JD, I'm sorry. Healing to your foot. Healing to your foot. I speak healing and life and peace into your foot. They are so yummy, JD. They make my whole throat swell. If I eat them and swallow them, my throat is going to be swollen shut. And that didn't start happening until I got older. The older I get, the more fruit that I love that I'm allergic to. Yep, yep, yep. Watermelon itches my throat now. Kiwi itches my throat now. Cantaloupe itches my throat. Every goddamn thing that is good for me and that I love itches my throat. So I've had to expand my fruit palette and find other fruits. And the more expensive exotical fruit, oh, my throat loves that because it costs more. Of course, I have a Libra throat. My throat's like, what's the price tag on that fruit? $10 a pound. We can eat that. We can eat that. So, you guys want to talk about some tinfoil hat stuff? Did you guys notice the picture in my thumbnail for this live? That's a rhetorical question, so I'm going to wait because if you haven't, I need you to notice it. The thumbnail and the title, which is called, obviously, it's Necromancy Monday, but it's called A King and a Pope. Did you guys see the thumbnail in this video? I'll wait. I need to know before I move on. JD, of course you are. Of course you are, because I got the picture from you. You guys, JD is a drill rapper from Chicago. See how quickly I just lied and couldn't even get it all the way out of my mouth before I chuckled at myself. Listen, my thumbnails are always tea. but nobody ever gives me credit for them. But listen, I put more thought into a thumbnail than I do the entire whole video. Okay? So just know to look at the thumbnails and the titles because it's always it's always very well thought out. No coincidence. So JD is a drill. She's not a drill rapper, but she's my drill rapper, and she's in Chicago. And I think I was doing either a reading on the Pope or on King Von. I think I was doing a reading on the Pope, and JD sent me a picture of King Von and the current Pope. hmm And I put it in my thumbnail because she was like, "This is tea." And it kind of confirms something you were saying in your reading. So I thought, well, what the fuck is this current pope doing with all these thug drill rappers from Chicago? I had no idea that there was a correlation, a scissoring between the Chicago Catholic community and the Chicago drill rappers. I had no idea. I mean, I saw something like that in the reading, but then when JD sent me that photo, I said, what is this? What is this? Is y'all cousins?" And it wasn't just King Von in that thumbnail. It's a whole, uh, a whole chapter of the Chicago drill rap gang sector. A whole chapter of the drill thugs in Chicago. And tonight, as I was meditating on Hello, Jazz the Steez, as I was meditating on which dead person I was going to conjure up and speak to tonight, a couple of them said I would like to talk. Actually, an executed, assassinated African leader. I'm gonna do him. Muhammad Ali said I had something to say. I almost did Muhammad Ali tonight, but I said no. I need somebody a little bit more relevant, somebody with something to say more relevant to the messages that I like to do here. And so I said, Muhammad in African, sir, just hold on. I'm coming back. But King Von, I know I've read you here before, but we've never discussed your connection with the current Pope because at the time he wasn't a Pope. But what do you know? At the time, you weren't the infamous King Von that you have become today. And now he's the current Pope. So both of your faiths seem to have almost, they just, ooh la la. What are the odds? And what are these Chicago YNs doing posted up in a photo with a future Pope? They never talk about that. Do you ever hear these drill rappers say, shout out to Bishop John Paul the 15th down at the Canterbury Egg Mass pilgrimage of the Catholic Mass Society Church? You never hear them say shout out to Pope John Paul the 15th down at the Basilica of the St. Mary's Mount Baptist Catholic Church. You never. But there they are. And the church is no laughing matter. It is a very powerful institution. So tonight, I am going to call up King Von. You guys, I did my nails. I do my own nails. Do you guys like them? They're the cat eye thing. They're cat eye. It has the magnet. And so it's supposed to, yeah, you see that? You see that? You see the colors? Yeah, you like that, don't you? I did it myself, and these are gel nails too. I have my own UV light, drill, and everything. It's actually called Midnight something. And then I took the magnet and I, ooh, in my mind, that's the sound it was making. It didn't make any sound, but in my mind, it was like, ooh. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to change it. I'm going to a car show in March, and I'm going to change it to this nasty Vixen Lady of the Night Red because I love a Lady of the Night Red nail. And I have those chap Rihanna boots. You know, the chap looking Rihanna boots? I have those and a real nasty just a real nasty outfit to wear to the show. I wanted to get me a shiesty mask too, but I want people to see my mug. So I'm gonna look like a dominatrix ninja biker girl, which I stand, with an old nasty red nail. You know, oh, I'll be giving hooker, and I'm here for it. Anyways, so I'm going to conjure up King Von from the dead because if you're a friend of mine here at Beyond the Veil, then you have to understand that in my mind, there is no separation between the deceased and the living except for vibration, frequency. Excuse me, I'm burping. That's the only separation between us. They have their being is out of their body, and the only reason we can't see it is because of the vibration of the spirit. It's too fast. 49ers fan, you probably won't. Even if I told you what this was, you probably won't. So, oh, no, you guys, I didn't mean to. Somebody unhid 49ers fan. Can somebody rehide them, reblock them? I'm going to call up King Von, not to discuss his passing like I did the first time I called him up, but to discuss his relationship with the Pope and also all the other YN's relationship with the Pope. What was that a thing? Now, Tierra, JD, if you're still here, can you remind me? I think JD said that they had some sort of outreach program at that specific church that the now sitting Pope was currently the bishop of before he was the Pope. She said they had some kind of outreach program for the thugs in the community of Chicago. But this was before the drill era really became a thing. So, what kind of, my question, my curiosity is, considering the history of the Catholic Church with young men, and then considering them having an outreach program with Chicago YNs who later became infamous drill rappers, and then a whole drill Chicago YN drill thug type thing became mainstream. I'm curious, why did the outreach not prevent these YNs? Because they look real comfy, cozy, posted up with the Pope in their YN energy. It wasn't like they came trying to change or better themselves. They came as YNs. And the Pope was even posted up like this, like he was a YN. So I was like, this is interesting. And he later became a Pope in drill rap in Chicago, led by Chicago thug, YN ass thugs, became mainstream. So I would like to speak to King Von. And around here, I can do that. So if that's not your thing, if you don't believe in that sort of thing, please leave now. Thank you, Lemon. No, I didn't say anything about anybody being abused, Sam. Let me get you up out of here. All right. I'm not talking about any sexual abuse about these young men. I'm talking about I want to see. I'm curious. That's it. I'm just curious. And I'm going to ask some questions because I'm a medium, so I speak to the dead and the living, whomever. But I'm going to ask King Von. JD, who is in Chicago, says they had a class action lawsuit because the pre-store, I think that was supposed to be the priest, were messing with the boys, and the boys were now adults and told. Were these some of the young men in that photo? Yes, you said priests. Were these some YNs, and was this at the church of the current pope? And was it under his watch? So was he at that church, the current pope, was he at that church when they had that class action lawsuit? According to JD, who was in Chicago, that's where this, okay, she said she believes so. Yes, okay. So according to one of my mods who is in Chicago, born and raised and currently in Chicago, she said that the church where the current pope, who wasn't a pope at the time, had a lawsuit due to the abuse of young men who became adults and told, and then had a class action lawsuit. She said it's amazing he's the Pope. Well, it's amazing that he's the Pope, and it's also ironic that at least one of the young men that he took a photo with that are by all means supposed to be gang members became a famous person as well. So, anyways, let me just go ahead. Let me get my Florida water actually. I feel the spirit of troll is upon me. All right, you guys. You guys want to take a trip? You do. That's why you're here. All right. I'm going to get in the driver's seat. You guys hop in. Come with me. Everybody just breathe. We can all take, we can all benefit from a moment in today's world of survival to breathe. So you guys breathe with me. How many times a day are you guys consciously aware of the breaths that you're taking? Do you guys get a moment to pause throughout your day? Not to pause to eat or pause to take a nap, but to pause just to be still and breathe. It's good for your nervous system. It's good for your brain. It's good for your heart. Most High Mother and Father God, please allow me to conjure up from the east where the sun goes to bed, so they say, where the sun descends into the underworld. Please allow me to conjure up the spirit, soul, and collective energy of the rapper King Von. I don't feel like Googling his birth name, but he went by King Von. He was most famous for being known as King Von. King Vaughn, a king descended into the underworld. What are you doing in there? What are you doing over there? Come, come, I summon you. King Vaughn, I don't believe you're resting over there. I believe you're busy over there. King Vaughn, come, 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 come. Gather your energy so that you can lower your vibration enough to meet me halfway. Let's chat. In my mind, I hear, I don't want to talk about this. Spirit, compel King Vaughn to speak his soul's truth, keeping absolutely nothing hidden from me. Restrain him from wandering off. Restrain his consciousness and keep it focused on me. King Vaughn, did you have a relationship with the now current Pope? His name, because I already have it queued up, is Pope Leo is that 16th? IV 14th. XIV, I think that's 14, because I know IV is 4. The X is 10. 14th, I suppose. Pope Leo, he's the current Pope. King Vaughn, what was your relationship to him? Were you a part of an outreach program with him? Did you know him while you were alive? And if so, what was your relationship to Pope Leo? He wasn't a pope when you were alive, so you would have known him as, I suppose, Bishop Leo. Did you know him? And if so, what was your relationship with him? Davon DeQuan Bennett. That sounds so late Gen Z. Davon DeQuan. That sound. It rings. It tracks. Davon DeQuan. I can dig it. Davon goddamn DeQuan. Listen, that's a name for a YN. That's a name for a YN. Davon DeQuan Bennett. Mm-mm. Mm-hmm. That feels just like him. Both King Von and Davon DeQuan feel that it feels like his vibration. It feels just like him. Davon, goddamn DeQuan. What was your relationship, if any, with Bishop Pope Leo? I believe the 14th, down at the Saint Mary Basilica of Paul Missionary Baptist Catholic Church in Chicago, down in the neighborhood. What was your relationship with that bishop, who's currently the Pope? He doesn't want to talk about this. Whoa, I wonder why. Oh, the trolls are out today. Oh, they seen the thumbnail. See, y'all don't be clocking a thumbnail, but the trolls do. That's why they're in here today. But I wrestle not against flesh and blood, so that's what I have mods for. I'll deal with the principalities in high places. Oh, dear. You know, despite how chummy they look in the picture, I don't think King Von has a good opinion about this. I hear him saying in my mind, because all of this is my imagination, you guys. Some of you guys are accustomed to the accuracy of my imagination when I play these guessing games, but that's all they are. So pay me no, never mind. I hear in my mind, bad man. He's a bad man. He's a bad man. I don't want to talk about this. That's what I hear in my mind. And in my mind, what I see, besides my spirits, when I have to compel people, I usually always see two big buff, big buff, swole demon guardian looking things, they usually come and kind of hold them. And I can kind of see them being held and kind of doing like this, trying to, really just not wanting. So this is a bad man. Uh, poor dad, poor dad. So allegedly, I believe King Von was at least aware of the allegations surrounding this man in the class action lawsuit, but maybe King Von was personally aware of some of this man's activities that caused him to not be upstanding. He was already an emperor, though. Even before he became pope, at least according to King Von, he was a big dog. You know how in movies and TV shows you'll have like the big time drug dealer and he runs the city, but there's like this secret entity that really runs the city. The drug dealer is the face of who runs the city, but there's just this one higher person that kind of even runs everybody, including the big time drug dealer. But they're usually like in the movies, they're usually like a politician or somebody, but they are kind of the real lord of all the underworld activity of the town. Yes, JD, thank you. The ominous presence. At least according to King Von, in my opinion, that's who he would have seen this man as. The man who really runs Chicago. I mentioned that before. I mentioned how they ironically got all that military artillery, and guess whose administration that was under? Because I saw it. I watched it with my own eyes, and I clocked it as it was happening. I said, well, I mean, almost simultaneously, one person rose up and so did the crime. And I heard even back then, people were saying online in small voices about crates of weapons being left in the hood in Chicago, just left. And they were even saying they were seeing white men in all black with masks over their face in the heat of the night, just dropping them and leaving. A bazooka? Where the YNs is getting bazookas? You personally knew him. I don't know why I can't think of his name. JD says she personally knew a young man who's in jail that had a bazooka. Where the fuck did he get that from? Do they sell bazookas at the gun stores around the corner? So, in my opinion, according to King Von, and in my opinion, this man had a very powerful and ominous presence. Like he was the man, even back then. Challenge is the Ace of Cups. So this would be the Catholic Church, the Christian religion here. Why? So the challenge is this man. He's allegedly a bad man. The challenge is that he's currently the face of a religion. And I say currently at the time of King Von, but even still today. He's literally the face of Catholicism and Christianity now. Catholicism. He's the father and Trump is the son, the Jesus. His street name, Rondo Number Nine. This is the young man who had a bazooka, Rondo Number Nine. An emperor in reverse, that's behind or running a religion. Interesting. I'm mincing my words, you guys, because I'm aware of the platform that I'm on, so I have to be a little bit politically correct, but just even just read body language with me too. Read pauses, looks. I communicate with all of my senses, and I try to help you do the same. It used to be the wild, wild west there, is what JD is saying. Interesting. In the past position, the Empress, mother, his mother, if he was a young man, a minor, still, under his mother's care, so to speak, she would have probably introduced him to this program. Interesting, though, because why is that important to point out to me? I think the mother had some sort of, I won't say relationship, but I'll say knowledge of where to place her son in order to get him put on or connected. Possibly even to, for instance, if he's in the drug life, in the gang life, and she might be with it too, she might be kind of gang too, then I know who the real power players are. Let me connect my son in to them. All of these moms in Chicago act oblivious to their son's behavior. All of them tried the outreach programs. It's just too late. Something about what they know about these outreach programs. There's something interesting about the knowledge of these outreach programs, or at least some of them. Vaughn went to jail for murder, beat it, and then went back for murder. And obviously, he was out when he passed. So I don't think that I'm not speaking about everybody, but King Vaughn, I don't think his mother, because I don't think he was living with his father. I don't think his mother put him in this outreach program to help him change. Okay? That's what I'm saying. That's my opinion, but I don't think the intent behind it was to help him become a good Catholic boy. He's black. If she wanted him to change, she'd have took him to Mount Bethel Baptist with Bishop Reverend Johnson. You know, the way that they were probably raised, including being aware of these charges. Why would you send your young, disenfranchised black son to a Catholic outreach program that has charges or allegations against it? And I'm saying that as a black person because what I'm saying why I keep reiterating that point is because I'm black and I'm speaking from my knowledge of the black community. We don't, when we change, we go to church, not the Catholic Church, because the black community as a whole typically will look at them like, oh, they be doing stuff with the kid. We were now. I'm not shading any black Catholics, but I don't think that King Von's mother was one. I think she thought that there was some benefit to this particular outreach program, in my opinion. King Von passed away. This is his passing. I've already did a reading about his passing and the connections behind it. I think, in my opinion, Lil Durk set it up, but I think that Lil Durk's rise to fame was similar to King Von. Even though Lil Durk wasn't in that photo, I think he's as connected. I think he was connected and helped, and maybe even met. I don't know how him and Von met, but I think that he's similar. Lil Durk is in a similar situation with these ominous presences. And I think that they benefited from the crimes that they committed. I think that they benefited from those. I think that they served a purpose and then they were kind of taken out to the trash when they weren't needed anymore. I think that their behavior and their lifestyle was encouraged, influenced, protected until the purpose was served. I believe that taking out and getting away with taking out Little Von allegedly by Lil Durk, I mean King Von by allegedly Lil Durk, came from above even Lil Durk. And if it didn't come above, you don't just get to do that to somebody who's signed to a label. That's like you touching somebody that's under the protection of the mob. Even if you are under the protection, you have to get permission or a green light to touch somebody's investment like that. I believe that Lil Durk did a lot of dirty work in the industry. That's why won't none of his friends in the industry say nothing about taking up for him, free Lil Durk, all of that stuff, because I believe they know, and I believe that a lot of their relationship with him, I believe some of them utilized his services and some of them wanted to be close to him because they knew that he was kind of like a hit person. That's my opinion of Little Durk. So that is kind of a summary of what I said in my Lil Von reading, King Von reading. So in the future, he was taken out. I don't think it had much to do with street beef. It was bigger than that, but that's going to be the cover. Queen of Pentacles. This would be Black women. Mother, Queen of Pentacles. Crowning this relationship between King Von and the Pope. I'm sorry, but I think his mom is just a street ratchet and hood. And I think that she wanted her son to come up so that she could probably. And if she didn't help him come up in that way, even in ways that we can't see publicly, I think that the lifestyle he lived benefited her. Him coming up benefited her. I think maybe if your son is involved with gang culture, it may be an unspoken rule not to act oblivious. Some of them act oblivious because of the benefits, but I think the ones who really know a thing or two know how to connect their son so that they kind of have protection from the lifestyle that they live and they get benefits. So if you get connected to a politician, a priest, because these men in power are always looking for low lives to do their dirty work. So some of these mamas who failed to come up in their heyday might be like, well, if my son gonna live this life, let me put him in with the people who gonna get him some real money and some real power. But at what cost? At what cost with this priest? This is the community, so to speak, that they come from. Listen, the mamas be like, let me help my son get put on. Hey, I'm finna sign you up for this outreach program. Cause, you know, and what really go on in there, you know what I'm saying? That's gonna really put you on. And I think that they utilize underprivileged and disenfranchised communities to do dirty work for them of all sorts. And while they're doing the dirty work, they protect them. And then when they don't need them to do that work, they discard them. Hence King Von and Lil Durk's situations. Child, these mamas. Here's the Pope. Now he went from a bad man to a Pope. Very interesting how he can go from reversed to upright. But here he is. So not only did these YNs pay their dues to get on temporarily, seems as though he paid his too. I'm more interested in what those dues were. In my mind, I can hear King Von saying everything. He did everything. He ran everything. In my mind, which is my opinion, in my opinion to have, I hear he ran Obama them. That's how I hear it. He ran Obama them. I would expect that though. That wouldn't be a bomb to me because of course I would see the Pope above politicians. It's the Pope. It's the head of Rome. The problem is though there's some activity that's still going on, in my opinion. Because this is sitting above the Pope. There's some activity that's still going on under the guise of religion, the church, the faith, all sorts of things. They use the church and Christianity for all sorts of evils, in my opinion. Just running a train on these people, faith. I could elaborate, but YouTube. Hopes and fears for King Von is that he got on. These are all the YNs that was in the photo with the Pope, but this is King Von. Out of all of them in that particular outreach program, he was the one who got put on. Ironically, he probably was the one that did the most crime or the most important crimes that needed to be done. So his hope with the Pope allegedly was getting put on, getting into that outreach program and then getting put on. Interesting. The outcome for his relationship with the Pope and King Von is this is self-sabotage. This is being thrown to the wolves or falling on your own sword, being a wolf and then dealing with wolves and then falling by the wolves, living by the sword and falling on the sword. Let's start with the emperor. This is the church, the outreach program at the church, taking in the poor. This is the dead here. This is talking to the dead. Now, why are you talking about me here? Celebrities. Super Bowl. Celebrity and wealthy people, Super Bowl. That might not be the Super Bowl. Celebrities, wealthy celebrities talking to the dead, don't want to talk about the church. Okay. All right. Okay. The Emperor in reverse. I don't give no fuck about why you don't want to talk about this. Listen, I'd have a little bit more empathy if you didn't live the lifestyle that you live, but now you got to come clean to it. So his outcome is having to come clean, even now. Oh, why is he a bad man? Why is he the Emperor in reverse? These are the charges against him, the class action lawsuit that is nobody knows about unless you are in that community local to Chicago. Nobody knows about that. Why wasn't that brought up when he became Pope? Typically, nobody knows who's being looked at to become Pope. And I think that's by design because they all have so many bones in their closets, even back to the days of the beginning of them. It would be an outcry and outrage if people knew who was being, looked at to become. So they keep that completely hidden and just bring it out so that you have no say so and you just accept it because they are all enamored by him being the Pope. That's by design, though. Let me see if I can find anything on my good sis Google about his charges. Let's see. Pope Leo lawsuit. Based on reports from May 2025 and later, Pope Leo, formerly Cardinal Robert Prevost, has faced serious allegations regarding the handling of clergy sexual abuse cases during his time as a bishop in Peru and as a leader of the Augustinian order in Chicago. Augustinian order in Chicago. While there is no direct lawsuit against him personally, In the sense of a civil trial, a victims advocacy group filed a formal complaint with the Vatican in March 2025, accusing him of mismanaging abuse allegations. Chicago Sun-Times, December 4th, 2025. This article from the Chicago Sun-Times says Pope Leo helped shield clergy accused of abuse in Peru, abuse survivors allege. New recordings of church officials spurred the survivors network of those abused by priests, or SNAP, to file an updated complaint with the Vatican. Survivors of clergy abuse are calling for an investigation into Pope Leo the 14th, I believe, during his tenure as Bishop of Chiclayo in Peru, alleging he played a role in covering up how priests and clerics accused of sexual assault were alleged to continue their roles in the Catholic Church. Recordings of a meeting from in April between the Reverend Gianpiero Gambaro with Ana Maria Diaz, Quispe, Quispe Diaz, and others accusing Peruvian clerics of assault revealed the man they accused had confessed to church officials years ago, and in September was granted an honorable discharge. The Chicago Sun-Times reviewed a translated version of the recordings made public by Conclave Watch. The group said these cases were representative of a system that allows bishops and cardinals to control and close cases that implicate themselves. We cannot have another pope in this institutional system who has covered up child sex crimes, said Peter Isley, a survivor of clerical sexual abuse from Wisconsin and SNAP founder, at a Thursday news conference in Chicago. I've been at this 35 years, and the only way things change is when there are consequences and accountability. We don't want this to happen to another child. Vatican officials did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Diaz of Chiclayo, Peru, alleges she was abused by a priest when she was 9 years old, and her two sisters were assaulted by the same priest. Where's these people and the parents, the mamas and the daddies? How do 3 of your children get abused by the same priest? In April 2022, she said, the 3 of them, somebody's, excuse me, I have to get something to lubricate my throat. They trying to take me out. 1 second. I got the whole jug, y'all. Excuse me, I feel like I might flash y'all, but oh God, I am flashing y'all. Okay. I won't take out the sword of truth. I don't need it. Oh God, I'm just, ooh. See, I don't have the kind of show here where I'm all professional and I have the lights and the backdrops and stuff because my gift is the show. So maybe one day I'll decide to do all that cutesy stuff, but for now, we're here for the gifts, okay? We're here for the information. And because I have a niche talent that maybe less than 1% of the population can do, then I can afford to flash you guys and drink from my jug and get comfy, comfy, cozy here because this does require a lot of energy. In April 2022, she said the three of them brought their allegations to Pope Leo, then known as Robert Prevost and serving as Bishop of Chiclayo, though he never opened an investigation. Hey, Liv, thank you. Gabbett, I think. The Vatican ended its investigation into the alleged abuse in 2023 after civil authorities said the allegations were beyond the statute of limitations. They said, sorry, you waited too late. We waited too late. Sounds to me like they could have possibly did nothing until the statute of limitations ran out and then said, oh, damn, we were just going to do something about it. Ugh, goddamn statute of limitations. The Vatican told the paper that Prevost had done more than was required in at least one of the cases. So what'd he do? The new evidence shows that church officials admitted the Reverend Eleuterio Vasquez Gonzalez, known as Father Lute, had confessed to removing his clothes, making sexually inappropriate comments, and touching himself and the victims, according to Snap. Gambaro said Prevost's preliminary investigation was very poorly conducted, describing it as a joke, and that the church's statute of limitations is clearly quite different. He added that an unknown church official, believed by the victims to be Prevost, signed a letter saying the canonical process should not be carried out. This is the first time I've dealt with this type of situation where they invoke the statute of limitations under the civil law in this way, Gambaro says in the recording. Lute, which was the accused the accused priest, and Reverend Ricardo Yescain Paiva. Sorry, Spanish people. Who Diaz says also assaulted her as a child. My God. Continued to be shown in Facebook photos serving in church roles, despite Prevost, that's the current pope, claims that they had been removed, according to Snap's analysis of social media. One Facebook photo shows Prevost, that's the current pope, standing with Paiva at his birthday party in 2023. This is the pope that is currently pope of the Catholic Church, who's the first pope from the United States of America in ever. In 2023, being photoed with someone who was accused previous to that of actual abuse and who they said they had removed. That's what they're saying here. 3 years after the allegations surfaced, both dressed in clerical garb. Oh, they put the post up there. They put the picture up there. Hold on. They said, hold on, I got a receipt citing my sources. This is the photo of the Pope and one of these other men. In this photo, I don't know which one, is the accused. By 2024, the church said the accused cleric. Now, see, I can hear in my mind King Von says, this stuff isn't what I can tell you about. King Von is saying, I can tell you about the stuff besides the publicly known allegations. He said this Pope has done or is known for, according to the YN community in Chicago, they know him for something else. Like they're aware of the allegations, but they know him for something else that's done in secret. I heard you, Vaughn. I'm going to get to it. By 2024, the church said the accused cleric who had been pictured with Prevost couldn't be investigated and had already exited ministry due to a neurological condition, according to SNAP. It is incomprehensible that instead of seeking the truth and repairing the victims, the decision was made to close the case through a papal grace that frees the abuser from facing the responsibility that corresponds to him, leaving us in a vulnerable situation with no reparation, where the only thing offered to us is payment for therapy, Diaz said in a statement. So let me get back to King Von, who still does not want to talk about any of this. But King Von, you shouldn't have anything to be afraid of, my dear. He says, I have a lot of things to be afraid of. I know you do. But that's another story. It seems like it's overlooked, or those allegations about him are overlooked, but so are other things. So are other things that he's tied to, like this photo. I see something here about digging deeper into King Von's death. There are connections that can be drawn all the way back up to higher powers if people aren't afraid to look at Lil Durk in a different light. What's not talked about in their community, what's not talked about but is talked about, not openly discussed, but is known and secretly discussed to the people who know, is his outreach program or his dealings with certain people before their rise to fame. I wonder about all the other young men in the photo in my thumbnail. King Von is no longer alive. I wonder where the rest of those young men are. Also, political connections prior to him becoming Pope is what he's saying. Political connections that he's affiliated to prior to him becoming Pope, because he was even the power behind them. This man seemed to be on a trajectory. It may have been known that he would one day be poped, or it was something that was being worked, like a coup. I do not think that it was a coincidence that there was never a U.S. Pope, a Western Pope, And I think that with Trump being who he is, he helped pull another power move, even in the Vatican. It seems that Rome saw the US as its son, okay? Like you're my little son. Sit down somewhere. It seems as though they feel like the West could not produce a pope because of their roots, meaning they it's a respect thing, but something about their roots of the bishops in the West. This one seemed to have served time in Peru, so he has the right roots. But I believe that the West kind of pulled a coup with the Vatican to get a Western, um, a Western pope in, like a power grab. That seemed to have been in the works for some time, even if not with this particular pope. It seems as though the US, possibly, in my mind, in my opinion, has wanted a Western pope for some time, one that can benefit the West. This one seemed to court that position by aligning himself with politicians in the West, possibly doing them favors, them possibly doing favors for him, creating maybe a relationship with politicians in the West. Once it became time for the West to start actively pursuing this, I think that Trump helped him get in because of whatever background, behind the scenes background this pope has, and his relationships with politicians and the work that he's already done. I think Trump knows this man and thought he would be a best candidate. He's already been on the circuit. And by the circuit, I mean their circuit of networking, how they network and move up the ranks. So, again, I'm going to say that this Pope, in my opinion, has paid his dues. And at least in my opinion, King Von is saying look into his political relationships before he was Pope. Look into the outreach program. As a matter of fact, let's see if Google will tell me anything about an outreach program. Pope Leo outreach program. Let's see. Pope Leo, elected 2025, has prioritized a pastoral outreach focused on the poor, marginalized, and LGBTQ plus Catholics. Remember what I said about they pander to the disenfranchised? Thank you, Dakota. Emphasizing continuity with Pope Francis's theme of inclusion. His initiatives include From Crisis to Care for Child Protection. I'm sorry, did we just not read that article from those SNAP survivors? Why does he have a child protection program? There are literally adults saying that he helped cover up their abuse when they were children. He literally said we can't do anything about it because of the statute of limitations, sorry, and gave the accused priest, an honorable discharge. From his initiatives include from crisis to care for child protection. And he has affirmed the preferential option for the poor. You know, everybody has a preference these days. His is poor. His is poor and children. A Catholic Pope who is a part of a class action abuse lawsuit has a preference for the poor and has an initiative for child protection. This is exactly what I was talking about. And the women who know, because these are women, if you're poor and disenfranchised, you're usually raised by a single mother. I'm talking about back to the Black community. You usually have a single mother with no financial help, and she needs some motherfucking money. Now, what does she gain from having her son in this? She gains a King Von. She sacrifices a, what is it, Devontae Daquan, and she gains a King Von. Key aspects of Pope Leo's outreach include LGBTQ plus inclusion, because you know they have a lot of conversations around their priests, their male priests, and young male boys. So that makes sense. That makes sense that the first Western Pope has an LGBTQ initiative. That makes sense. Following a private audience with Father James Martin, founder of the outreach ministry, Pope Leo signaled a desire to continue a mission of openness and welcome for LGBTQ plus Catholics. Because if more of you guys come out of the closet, then less of them get in trouble for sleeping with you and your children. Allegedly. He held a lunch with transgender people following a 2025 Mass for the Jubilee of the Poor. Support for the poor. In his first apostolic exhortation, Dilexi T, or Te, I have loved you, signed on the feast of St. Francis of Assisi, he highlighted that caring for the poor is central to the church's mission. Child protection and social justice. He has endorsed From Crisis to Care, Catholic Action for Children, a global initiative to safeguard children's rights. He also supports advocacy for migrants, refugees, and those facing economic hardship. Basically, everybody vulnerable. Everyone vulnerable. and overlooked. Like if something were to happen to them, if they were to disappear, if they were offered up by their disenfranchised poor families. All of his initiatives sound like a buffet to someone who has had these type of allegations against him and his peers that this man has had. Sounds like just bring me all of the poor, overlooked children, all of the desperate mothers who need money, all of the gay people who won't mind a little tweedledee and tweedledum in the confessional. Just global peace initiatives. Pope Leo has expressed a strong desire to facilitate peace and unity, specifically mentioning efforts in regions like Ukraine, Gaza, and Myanmar. That sounds like a Miss USA pageant answer. His pastoral approach, described as similar to Pope Francis, focuses on pastoral accompaniment rather than immediate doctrinal changes. Oh, his outreach, I think, has a website. Outreach.faith. I don't know if this is their website, but no, I want to see his YN outreach program. Let me type in Chicago. Hmm. I don't see any details about his outreach program before he was in Pope, unless this what I just read is the same thing. Now, back to King Von. He's saying that what he knew him for didn't have anything to do with the abuse stuff. When I clarified this, now this is what someone like a King Von would know him for. This type of business. As a knight for the clergy, taking people out when they no longer serve a purpose. Now, this looks like conversations that they had inside of the church, but not church business. The outreach program that King Von was involved in my opinion, was a cover for courting young men who will commit crimes. But this isn't just taking people out. The people that they took out were each other for the most part. This is an agenda that needed a program or an agenda or a structure that needed to be broken. What's that Three of Pentacles in reverse? The Tower, a structure, a system, even a way of life that needed to be disturbed, broken. This, in my opinion, was the plot to bring Chirac, to turn Chicago into Chirac. But why? It's an order, like a governmental order. At the time, this was from the current president. Now, I know Obama isn't an air sign, but this was the president of the United States at the time, who was Obama. Now, here's the blue. There's the Star Spangled. This is America, but this is also the appearance of someone. I pulled this card for Nicki Minaj right before she appeared at Melania's appearance. And remember, I said she's about to do something that has something to do with American, because I mentioned the stars on the blue flag, and she even wore a dress this color at the premiere for an Aryan woman. So this is the premiere of the first Black president, in my opinion. But this is also, again, what I mentioned, the simultaneous crime that came with it. I'm seeing here that these men were recruited, courted to do just that. But this is before Obama was announced president. The Pope seemed to already be recruiting to groom and prepare men for this era. My goodness. And this is the desire for the disenfranchised communities, but this is also various agendas that we saw at that same time under that same administration, the Obama administration. We saw the LGBTQ plus agenda kind of get its own president. He championed those causes. I believe that president had homosexual activities as well. In my opinion, trafficking, you guys know the pizza parties that they talk about and things like that. Where do you guys think they were getting the children, access to the children from, to do this in that administration? Now, mind you, Obama is from Chicago. So this Pope is from Chicago, and he has a program with hitters. They got access to YNs. They got access to poor and disenfranchised and desperate and vulnerable children. The why, though, is that I believe that what came was intentional. The destruction of America as we knew it was taking place before Trump. This was to cause a traumatic event on the population, to be honest. This was to get people into the idea of changes in the United States based on where the United States was going. JD says, fun fact, Obama has housing being built, or it's already built, or on the south side of the poorest part of Chicago, where I'm sure he never sets foot. I see someone using their community for gain through their access to the justice system, like a president or a politician. Bless me. Like developing a house, bless me, housing unit in the hood, probably low income or something like that. Why were they courting you guys, King Von? Where's that Knight of Cups? Here we go. Why were they courting you guys to do that? Gang members. Courting gang members. The spiritual community courting gang members that are already about that life. Here's King Von. Out of the courting them, out of the crew, a king. See? King of Wands, King of Wands, King of Wands. That outreach program that dealt with the YNs produced the King Von. And Judgment, in my opinion, his case had some help. The judgment for him to get off of that murder trial, in my opinion, that had some help from his spiritual person, the bishop, who was active. He was paying his dues at the time so that he could become the Pope. But back then, he was in the field. The thing was, though, so that they could commit a lot of crimes. And why would they want you guys committing crimes all over Chicago? In their own backyard. The world I see something about trafficking children here. In the midst of all that chaos going on in Chirac, I can't imagine tons of children silently disappeared. And they were funneled in and out of Chicago for various reasons. That's not the only reason, but that's the reason that King Von is aware of. He's aware of, in my opinion, trafficking. In my opinion, he was aware of it. But that's not something you ever would have heard him talk about. Ever, never. These children a lot of children came from Chicago, came and went from Chicago. I see a lot of activity going in and out of Chicago with children. You know, Obama era is not only when that Pizzagate thing happened, but also the Wayfair scandal happened with the shipping containers and that being tied to trafficking. I didn't get too heavily involved in that, so I don't know much of the details. But all of that happened under the Obama administration. Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland. Wasn't George Floyd too? Quite a few people. I'm going to be very interested. Okay. This is where the wires start to get crossed for me because Trump elected this Pope But Trump also went after a lot of these people who were involved in the Obama era of stuff. However, I don't see the Pope being loyal to those people, even if he participated in some way. He's above them. So that's why Trump would value him. On top of that, he would have so much information on people. Imagine Trump saying, I will make you Pope if you give me tea to hold over people's head. That would make sense at why Obama was seen buddying with Trump at that that man's funeral. But you notice Trump just recently came out um, making fun of them. So it's not that they are friends. It's just that Obama was sucking up. Obama was sucking up then. Y'all mad at Nicki Minaj and the Carters and stuff, but Obama was first. He knew what time it was. He knew to make nice with that man. Because once Trump became president, he started playing chess. He started creating relationships that would put him in power over people who would try to come against him. People like that Pope who would have tons of information on people in high places. And what do you do? What do you give a man like that who's powerful in his own right? You make him Pope. Because that's the one thing that the Vatican never seemed to do, and that's want to elect a Western Pope. But Trump said, I can help arrange that for you. You just got to be on my side. And that Pope said, say, talk to me more. Having the Vatican, in my opinion, is what makes Trump so defiant. It's what makes the American Congress not say too much, not do too much. He's got the Vatican. They all have to kind of bow down to that. To make a man like this Pope, who should have never been Pope with these charges, but also we've never had an American Pope. What kind of value did he bring to Trump? Let's see. Hmm. This is a Pope who is the head of an enterprise, not just the Catholic Church, but an enterprise, the head of the Holy See, so to speak. The Vatican, the hill that St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican is built on, the head of the Holy See. Children. T. He has tea on who is involved with child abuse. And I ain't just talking about in the church. I'm talking about the whole elite empire. And no, y'all don't know the people. y'all aren't talking about in the public the people that I'm talking about. Maybe one day, though. The Catholic Church has tea on everybody. You know how many wealthy Catholics there are who go and confess and then go right back to their BS after a confession? They just get off their chest and go back. Do you know how much power the Catholic Church would have and how much information they collect in those confessionals from people on high and on low? I will make you head of the Holy See if you give me all of your holy tea. And Trump gets to walk and romp around and do whatever he wants. The people who know they ain't got no tea to be told, they gon' protest. Power to the people, but y'all notice y'all been begging for an impeachment, and y'all Congress was like, impeach us. I love peach cobbler. Who cooking peach cobbler? I hope it's a black woman. Peach, peaches and cream. I love that shit. Y'all was like, no, we said impeach imported peaches from Georgia. Yes, please. I'll take a bag, a bushel, a box, a crate. Child. We literally kidnapped the leaders of Venezuela and drugged them through the streets, bound and gagged in one of our military vehicles, like the Wild Wild West. We've never had a president do that. Paraded them through our streets like, look what we just did. Ran up in Venezuela and took their leaders. He can do that. They don't want none with Trump. And by they, I mean the people who ain't wanting none. The Pope said, if you make, in my opinion, you make me Pope, because they'll never do that. Vatican City will never have an American Pope. Trump said, say less. Vatican City, tomato, tomato. Behind his tea, of course he would have it. He's a priest. He collects tea. It's his job as a Catholic priest to collect people's sins. I think he also was a key player in helping Obama. This Pope, I think he is the real reason Obama was a successful president behind the scenes. I know he's been in the groom and being groomed for it for a long time, but I think this Pope really was the one who made things happen on the ground in Chicago. And King's Vaughn's hopes and fears, him being put on, he did a lot of violence and gang activity, but he did so comfortably almost, knowing he wasn't going to get in any trouble because it wasn't in the plan for him to really get in trouble for certain things. For some reason, prison wouldn't have been a good idea for Vaughn Because what if he tried to utilize what he knew as leverage? You got to take somebody like that out. And I don't think he was ever meant to get bigger than Dirk, because Dirk was under control. He's not a wild card. Vaughn, though, I think that kind of happened. I think him getting so popular, that was natural, a natural occurrence that neither Dirk or the powers that be foresaw. In my opinion, Dirk was more in their pocket. Vaughn was more uncontrollable. So, yeah, you got to nip that in the bud. And I think Dirk would have been happy to do so. Dirk gives me more scarier, or not scarier, but more conscious than Vaughn. Vaughn was still really reckless and young and full of a little bit of power within himself. Dirk seemed like he would want to play by the rules because he knows that that may get him into gatekeeper status. He was doing the blueprint, like the Jay-Z thing. It's easier to work with Massa than work against him. You can get more from a bee using honey. Y'all don't be catching it though. Y'all better catch it real quick because I hit y'all with something real quick. I done drop blueprint, bees and honey. Listen, y'all better move quickly. Thank you, Vaughn. Now you can go. I had intended on doing a members live tonight, but I have to hit y'all tomorrow. The members. We'll have to resume the members live tomorrow because my content on my members live is getting deeper and deeper. And I do have a discussion for my members live, but I definitely couldn't start it tonight. I have to dedicate members live. So what I'm saying, I suppose, is instead of following up my Monday, Wednesday, and Friday public lives with members lives, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays are going to have to be for members because you deserve your own live. Not a piggyback off of the public live after I'm hungry, starving, and a little bit drained. And this week I will be, actually Valentine's Day, well, no, Friday, I will be reinstating um, my doctorate degree tier, but it'll come under a new name. And um, to be honest, I will probably spend a lot of time there. So that tier will probably get the most content more than anybody else. And I would say second most would be the public live. So the gold membership tier, you guys will still get the reclaiming series and when I decided to come Foo La La, but I'll spend a lot of time with that bigger tier because we are going to be doing more in-depth work, more studying. We're going to crack open some books. I'm going to give a lot of more in-depth, detailed, factual information, more knowledge dropping in conjunction with defining information, monthly group ceremonies, all of that, but they will be designed for a certain purpose. So don't expect like the crown of success and things like that. These ceremonies will be in conjunction with the greater work that we're doing. So that's kind of why I asked if you guys read or if you guys still study, if there were any readers and studiers who cared about more intellectual content as well as divining. I usually, when we're doing breakdowns and studies, I'll usually use these to look into things that facts don't give us. Information doesn't have all the answers. So I'll get it I thought about going live with you guys, but I don't want to do that just yet. There's something I'm birthing here, a vision that I'm birthing. And I what did you spell wrong, Q? I didn't even notice you coming up in here. Hey, Q. So when I say monthly group ceremonies, they have to be in conjunction with what we're doing. And there is, if you guys are looking for like entertainment and stuff, I would say don't join that tier. Join the gold tier because I'll still do, I'll actually start doing more readings in my gold membership tier that I don't necessarily want to talk about on my public platform. But if you guys are looking for entertainment stuff, don't join the um the tier that I'm going to be redropping on Friday because it won't be any of that actually at all unless whoever we're talking about is relevant to something bigger than just entertainment. I can't waste a lot more of my energy talking about that. And if I still do that, then I have to give myself another channel to really utilize myself in a more meaningful way. So I have to find balance because I'm a Libra. When you set it up, it's difficult. I will be working out the kinks between tonight, well, tomorrow and Friday to try to familiarize myself with it more. Um, and then I'll be able to roll it out and make sure it's user friendly for you guys, or at least I'm in a better position. Make another channel. I didn't think about that. But I don't want to disassociate what I do here. I want to keep it under the same umbrella. And to be honest, I the reason why I even me trying to not give you guys so much of that entertainment celebrity junk is also a message that I don't necessarily say because it's better to send that message by leading, just by being the change that I would like to see. The message in that is that that stuff does not matter, and I say it all the time, but it's not my place to tell you guys what to be interested in and what not to be interested in. But if I can help you, if I can help, then I will not feed you so much of something that I feel like is detrimental to you. At this stage in life, being so caught up in things that don't matter is detrimental. It's no longer just something that you do to cope. If I support just constantly feeding that, then how can I say, well, what's wrong with the collective conscious not being able to become self-aware or enlightened? If I'm helping to keep you guys bogged down with junk food, then how can I feel like you guys' spiritual health is a problem if I'm helping keeping you guys spiritually unhealthy? That is why I'm not going to do a separate channel, just a separate tier here. Because if I do a separate channel, then that means on this platform, I have to just do the content that I know you guys love. And I know you guys love it. And I enjoy it too. You know, sometimes, not too much, but sometimes, because balance. But at this moment, there is something more important for us to be aware of. And I'd be a hypocrite and I'd be a sellout to my own self if I just continue to just manja, cook up stuff that I know is making you guys unhealthy. Because even when I'm saying you guys on my other platform is the real reason why I'm even alive today, why I have this ability, and why spirits continue to platform me. I can't expect you guys to be interested in that because you got so much junk food clogging up your mind that I help feed you. So I can't even complain if you guys aren't becoming conscious enough to be able to eat the healthy food that I'm giving you. And I'm telling you, the more of the junk food you eat, the less taste you have for the healthy food. And the healthy food is the only thing that makes me passionate about doing this. The junk food, I'm not passionate about it anymore. And I haven't said that, but I feel like I've been showing it because of the type of content that I've been engaging in. It's where I'm going, it's where I am. It's me saying I am not just a psychic or a reader, I am an oracle, I am a woo lady. I have a responsibility, and the older I get, the more I grow into it rather than I just grow into it. I've surrendered to it. This is where I'm being led, and I'm feeling like the more I talk to my spirits on a personal level, like, how can I stretch myself? How can I challenge myself? I feel like what I've mastered that. What else can I do? What else can I do? I surprise myself, but I've gotten used to the level that I surprise myself at. If I can master something that, maybe less than 1% of humanity can master, what else can I do? What else is the human capable of in a world where they're saying AI is the next human and humans are becoming obsolete? What else can my human technology do? And how can I contribute to the greater good while I'm alive? That is my concern outside of YouTube. So when I ask those questions and I get the answers, it's just a natural transition. They say, then do this, move like this, say less. We'll help you grow into that since that's what you desire. If I desired to be not the number one YouTuber, then I would absolutely just continue popping off celebrity and current event and entertainment stuff. But to be honest, I would just get poached. I would get poached from bigger platforms and they would get all the credit and then I wouldn't. And then I'd spend all my time doing woo just to make sure that they don't benefit from the energy they poach off of me. I don't have time to do that. I pivot. I pivot. Because when I pivot, whoever whoever thought they could poach, they can't keep up. I pivot too quickly. And I pivot to places everybody can't go. And uh, so I have to trailblaze. Oh, Q. Oh, heartsies. I appreciate that. I appreciate the community that I've acquired, that I've been blessed with. That's just like, listen, we gonna ride with you till the wheels fall off. But to be honest, because I have such a small platform and I'm usually so accurate before things happen. I don't know if I'm just so good at picking up on conversations that are going to be had, or if there are people who are bush watchers who silently watch and then platform stuff, as if it's their own perspective. But sometimes I listen to things I hear around the YouTube community, and I just be like, well, it's the perspectives, not the information. The perspectives that I just be like, well, I know an original idea when I have one, and so I just be like, I think I'm tripping, but then I don't be thinking I'm tripping. And so I'm just like, you know what? And then after that other situation where that lady to this day is still the black icon for readings that I be done, child. I just be like, you know what? If entertainment is where the people master, then I'll go somewhere where they can't. Because I know places where very few people can't go. Even people who are really good at doing this, I know places where people can't go. And for ones like that lady, I absolutely do know my energy when it mirrors back to me, and I see it. And sometimes I struggle because I be like, "Girl, get over yourself." But my spirits really be like, "You can't be any more humble than you are." It gets to the point of self criticism when I try to be like, "No, I'm crazy, and I just need to be more." I'm just a nobody. That's what I have to tell myself to make myself feel like, no, I know what's mine. I know mm, I know my energy. And when I see it, I have to tell myself that I'm a nobody just to make myself not believe that it's mine. Because it's just be like I'm such a nobody on this platform. How would anybody even who would be checking for me like that to actually, but no, my spirit be like, these is your these some of these people are fans with huge platforms. Fans. But if they were to ever acknowledge you, and then their platforms and their audience know you exist, how can they ever then continue to break stuff if you do? People that are known for breaking tea, what if they never get a chance to break it anymore? So I just be like, I'll just pivot because I'm not here for the entertainment stuff. And remember, the OGs know that I used to say that I don't do celebrity readings and stuff like that. I stuck to the cold case stuff because I always felt like I'm gonna serve a higher purpose and use what I know how to do for something of substance, some good in the world. And I didn't feel like that was a beneficial use of my gift. And I feel like there are very talented seers out there. It's enough of them doing that where I don't need to lend to the conversation. But then my spirits who are a little bit more industrious was like, consider it marketing. I mean, every business has a big marketing budget. So get over yourself with this idea of needing to be so meek and more morally upstanding that you won't even, dip your toe in what you know is going to get people attention. Just, it's not like you lie. It's not like you're lying. You're just showing off what you can do so that you can get people's attention and then use their attention and then divert it to where you feel like it matters. And so I really did have to get over myself because I was like, I will not lower myself to such standard of doing something I said I wouldn't do just to get people to be interested in me so that then I can. But then I thought, no, that's fucking genius. Who was talking bad about me? The tarot was talking bad about me. Anyways, so, but I'm even outgrowing that version of myself. Who is who is the tarot? You say go look at her live. Who is the tarot? Yeah, the tarot. Listen, I don't even know who that is. I have no idea who that is. Is their name Yeah the Tarot or just the Tarot? I know that that happens. I be feeling like I'm crazy. And that's so cute. Thank you for validating that I'm not crazy because I will tell myself, Dina, cut it out. Like you're a nobody. Nobody would be thinking about you in that way. And so you said if somebody else went on live to talk about me. Okay. All right. What's their name again? I'm not gonna go on their live, but I'll do them a big one. Jason Brooks, what's their name? Yeah, the tarot. I don't know that person. Sorry to that man. I don't know that man. Never mind. They were talking about another person. I was Thank you for clearing that up. I wasn't gonna go on there live, but I was gonna read them and see what the beef taco was. I don't know that person. Oh goodness, Jason, listen, don't do that now. Make sure you got the facts together. Because I was going to say, well, put a name in here and let me consult my spirits and see what's going on. I wrestle not against flesh and blood. I say that just dropped into my spirit yesterday as I was smoking. And I was like, yes, come through spirits. They said, you don't never have to do that no more. You don't wrestle against flesh and blood. You tell them to send their spiritual boss. You shift the energy at its core, and that'll make a bitch move. So yeah, that's where I am over here. Thanks to the crown of success doing what it does, my mind has just been rewired. It's been rewiring. And I've been looking for a way to add value. Because when you are trying to manifest wealth, then you will start thinking of ways to add value. If you're tapped in, if you're trying to get money, then you'll look for ways to make money. If you're trying to be wealthy, then you'll look for ways to add value. Just the dawn. I could say so much more about the principalities, but again, you guys, I like to be very meek. But I'm telling y'all, the things that I spot, the things that I spot, I just feel like, man, we're just a blessed baby over here. We're just blessed babies. Just we're just a girl and a boy. We're just girls and boys out here, but oh, the things that we do, the way that we shift energies here at Beyond the Veil. You guys, when I do my nightly readings after my lives, it's like a sit down with my spirits to consult. All right, you guys, how we do tonight? I get so much tea, and I just feel like, no, I'm crazy. I'm tripping now. Now. And then I just resolve that I'm seeing things. But man, I only believe the negative things that I see about myself. And I might not see a lot of negative things, but I definitely might interpret them as negative. So when it comes to myself, I am very, very, very negative. I don't allow myself to take myself too seriously. But some things do make me a little suspicious. Anyways, I'm rambling now because I'm just chilling now. I'm just chilling with you guys for about 20 more minutes, and then I'll go. You guys have any questions or concerns about anything that I spoke about with King Von and Pope Leo? Fun fact, I know that Gothic Hippie with the lippy is my girl, but I just love Bath and Body Works lip oils. I love them. I love them. Especially this one. It's like a brown sugar babe. Is that what it's called? Honey glaze. I call it brown sugar babe. Gets high off your love, don't know how to behave. It is just, you out the game for now? Okay, Tierra, I respect that. Hi in Missouri. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate the likes. I once heard on a Tasha K Live her saying the only thing she'll ever ask for is likes and shares and stuff because the engagement helps boost them. And I said, I had no idea. I don't even be wanting people to do that because I feel like if you want to, you would. I'm one of those girls. I don't ask for too much because I feel like if you want to, you would, and I don't want to ask you to like it if you're not moved. Thanks, Jason. I like real organic love, and if I don't move you, then I don't move you. I'll understand. Thank you for the hearts, Reza. Thank you for the hearts again, Reza. Thank you, Thomas, for calling me pretty. I think I'm pretty too. Thank you, Catman. I think I'm fine too. See, this is the kind of trollage I like to see. Hearts in the chat. Damn, Auntie is fine. Well, I'm definitely not offended by being called an auntie. I'll be 39 this year. Yes, I said 39. Do y'all see this? Do y'all see this? 39 with this great skin. Thank you, Thomas. I know I don't, but yes, I will be 39 this year. So I'm coming up on my last hoorah in my 30s. I don't know what it feels like. It doesn't feel like the end of an era. My 30s started off a little wobbly, but shit, that shit real good now. It started oh, start off like Wendy Williams when she oh oh wasn't too sure here. I wasn't too sure. I wasn't too sure if 30s was going to be when I checked out because I said, you got to be kidding me. I've been looking forward to my 30s since I was 10. I had a vision when I was 10 that my 30s was going to be monumental. And then when I hit 30 and my life was in shambles, I said, my vision has failed me. How can I ever believe anything I've ever seen again? But listen, the fall apart was a part of the glow up. I didn't know that then, but shout out to Saturn Returns. They ugly and nasty, but when they done with you, if you go through it like I did, you come out looking 29 instead of 39. Ain't that right, Mama Fakit? So it's everything that I thought it would be now. And my vision was correct. My 30s was absolutely when I came alive, when I became a goddess. But at first, bitch, coming out of them 20s, oh, even up until 35, I was still like, I don't know what is going on here, but this is not what I thought it was going to be. Like, I look good, but that's because I'm a millennial. But I was just like, I thought by now I would feel like an adult. It's such a millennial thing to say, but like, when do you start feeling like the age you are? Because I just never, I laugh every time I say out loud how old I am. That's why I'll never have no problem saying how old I am because I don't believe, I don't know. It's like when my parents and stuff and my elders were this age. No, no, the fuck. They were different. They were a different version of this age, which is why I thought when I hit it, I was going to be like them. But it's like, I know my mama felt a lot more momily. I know she felt a lot more grown than I do, and then my other millennial peers do. Because my cousins in their 40s, they just be like, man, I'm surprised I got my shit together. They just be like, man, I'm surprised my kids ain't come out. Listen, their kids graduate and they just be like, man, I they all just perplexed. Not only that, all my cousins that got graduated kids, and some of my cousins just start becoming grandparents, child, and they in their early to mid 40s. And it's weird because we played together. So them being grandparents and I don't have kids, that's a part of why I haven't aged that much because I don't have kids. But they don't act like that. They don't make me feel like I missed out on anything because they just be shaking their head like, man. And their kids are great, better versions of them at that age than they were. And they just all be shaking their head like, I don't know how we raise these kids successfully. I don't know. They literally be like, it's because of the kids. It's not because of us. It's just because of who the kids chose to be. Because they just be like, man, I don't know how the fuck I did this. I don't know how the fuck them kids came out like this. Like they made something of themselves. They got good grades. They going to college. They got their heads on straight. We don't know how that happened, but hey, we did it. So even my cousins that's got grown kids and grandkids, they don't even act like they grandparents. They still outsider than they kids. So it's really weird being this age for me because it's like, bitch, when I die, I'm gonna be trying to figure out when I'm gonna feel like an adult. It's that crazy. When my granddad was 90 something, I asked him how I felt to be old as fuck. He said, don't feel like. He said, I don't feel old. It's just my body gets inconvenienced. So he basically said the age is an inconvenience due to the body's handling of age. But he said he didn't feel as old as he was. So I agree with that. I do not feel, I don't know if 39, what it's supposed to feel like, but I definitely thought I was going to feel a lot more. I don't know, child. So yeah, I don't know where that came from, but I'll be 39 this year. And the only thing that makes me feel nervous is I always feel like I'm not doing something right because I don't feel so old and haggardly. And according to society, I'm supposed to be a little bit more worn and torn than I am at 30s, a little bit more tired with life. And bitch, I feel like my early life, I was tired with life. I was suicidal for so long. I feel like I just started living this year. Now that I'm not bogged down with all of that trauma and I've been reborn, I'm a new version of myself. The old me is dead and gone, and good riddance to that bitch because she was weak. I feel like I'm just getting born. And so I have to live into my 90s because I just got born this year. Last year actually. I just came alive last year. So no, I need to run that back. Because if I spend a good 35 years feeling dead, then I need a good 35, 40, 45, 50. I say about 55 more. I can go to glory at 95. That's maybe even 90, depending on what we're looking at, but no sooner because I got shit to do. JD talk about having a Charlie Hood horse in her foot for 2 days. Girl, let me tell you, when you start getting up in your 30s towards your 40s and into your 40s and stuff like that, multiple body parts becomes the Charlie horse that you have it in your foot. You know, I thought the gym was gonna cure me of age, but I found out that age still ages even if you take care of your body because I have a healthy diet, I practice healthy lifestyle habits, I exercise, but when I get up from this posture that I've been sitting in for over an hour, oh, oh, honey, oh, I'm gonna make some noises with it. Ugh. I'm gonna make a face, I'm gonna make some noises, I'm gonna breathe heavy. When I finally stand up, I'm gonna lean back and crack my back. Listen. And I just feel like the gym was supposed to cure me of this. So I'm gonna keep going until the gym cures me. That is the inconvenience when your body ages. But your spirit is just like, bitch, what are you doing? So if you're young, if you're in your 20s, please take it from someone in your 30s. Don't take your youth for granted. Use it as a platform to springboard yourself into a healthy future, but don't use it for YOLO purposes because that is not the truth. Do not just be like, well, I'm still young, so I can do X, Y, and Z, and it just doesn't take a toll. Use your youth to practice healthy habits now so that you don't feel child. Just do it now while you're young. Even if you feel like you're still too young to do certain things, do them now. Because you're actually, from the moment you're born, you're not too young. You're deteriorating from the moment you are born. So if you start in your 20s, what I started in my 30s, then by the time you're in your 30s, you won't feel like that. I know you didn't tell me to shut up. You know what? That is one of the most disrespectful things I think that you could tell a person is to shut up. And I do not like that. I have been trolled a many a ways, but telling me to shut up, that just pissed me off. So I'm probably finna head out because I ain't like that. I don't like that. I don't tell people to shut up. I just don't say it. Even if I want you to, I just don't say it because who gives you the right? I don't have the right to tell another person to shut up. I will just disengage if I don't want to hear what you're saying. But out of respect for your autonomy to speak, I'll use my autonomy to not engage, to not listen. And that's respect for both of us. But telling somebody to shut up is a lot of audacity to me. So nobody ever do what Jamal just did because he got blocked. But next time I consider that you just put your hands on me. No. And I'm going to touch you. I don't like that. Those are fighting words to me. Hmm. You tell me to shut up. That means you want to fight me? You want to fight me of all people? Find a bear or someone safer. Somebody just did it. Shozo 9656. It's like you heard me say that and then you wanted to see what would happen. Hold on. I didn't say that to be like a big bad bully, like nobody bet not never, but I said that because I wanted to tell you guys how I like to be treated. And being told shut up is not something that I like having done to me. And then the next thing you do is tell me to shut up. That means that you're here solely to disrespect me. Because I feel like tell people how you like to be treated so that, they know. All right. All right. No, sometimes it's a good thing that I see. Spirit. Shozo 9656. I'm going to make an example out of Shozo. I would like to. I would like to because I didn't say that to be boastful to anybody. I just said that to state how I like to be treated and what is a form of disrespect that I consider disrespect. I've been up here ignoring trolls all live. I'm used to that part, but I don't like to be told shut up. And I stated that so that we could all just they could troll me other ways, but not that way. I would like to make an example out of Shozo, but I won't just assume that because I want someone to be punished for telling me to shut up, that that's what's going to happen. I don't know their name, Spirit, but in my platform, they went by the name Shozo 9656. Will there be any consequences for them if that is my intention to make them have a consequence for choosing to disrespect me? That was a choice. After I said I take offense to being told to shut up. Will there be any consequence, or will that just be a consequence of me being on this live? That flipped out. You got a price to pay, buddy. You got to pay that back. Because there I was, me being a Libra, and you guys are the trolls begging for attention. That was me paying some of y'all dust until you came being extra. And you got my attention, which means now you got a price to pay. Your challenge is justice in reverse. See those scales? See those scales? Big Libra energy. Big disrespect. That's your challenge. Justice in reverse. Knight of Cups in reverse in the past. I have been trolled in the past and I have been bothered by trolls in the past. You have been a troll in the past and you have been bothered by certain things that I've said. It always interests me that the trolls are usually here inactive until they are ready to become active. So there's probably another batch in here now waiting to press the button to get 1, 2, 3 release that. Near future, you'll continue to troll not this platform, but others. You may even come back through another troll name, and then you'll get blocked again. Crowning you, the hangman in reverse, somebody who otherwise might not be able to do anything. Their hands might be tied. This person can get up. They have some sort of enlightenment that makes them able to get up. So you see them as somebody who can't do anything, but really, what's on your head top is somebody who can. You hide behind your anonymity and you think nothing will happen because I'm anonymous. She's just a random girl on YouTube and I'm just a random faceless person. But I know a secret. That's this halo here. I know a secret that I bet you don't know. This is your current position. This is your current position and your current advice. You got a problem. A big one. You got the devil and justice in reverse challenging you. Two really big main arcana that don't need to be together. You got a problem. Because see, sitting right next to anonymity is the devil. He can touch you. Now you done got yourself chained to a situation. An example. The example I said I wanted to make. Sitting here doing the Lord's work, you will be made an example of. This is sitting on top of this. I will do so that you can tell your troll buddies where it's safe and where it ain't. So you can tell your boss to abort. You know, I've done that before. And you know what happened? The bot Rico with Spotify and all kinds of other entities who were bot entities. Hopes and fears. 6 of Swords. Well, this was my hope, to just move right along and do the Lord's work as a medium without being bothered. The outcome is, well, I won't have to deal with this person anymore. They'll no longer be in my chat, and whether they make a new thing or not, they'll never get this much engagement anymore. But if that was even a real person, it's like they just, I don't want to say cease to exist, but I don't think that's a real person. And if they are real people, they're bots. So they're not acting in this capacity as a person. They're acting as a troll. But you guys come up as nothing, which is why I don't know if you're a computer or if you're just a real human, but you come up as a nothing. I can't sense any life in you. To be a troll, you have to be conscienceless. Like even trolling for money, you have to be consciousless, consciousnessless, meaning you don't have enough God consciousness or enough access to it to think of a better master plan for yourself, even if it's just door dashing. You have to think of causing and living in a state of chaos, which is why you come up as nothing. If you are bots on a computer or if you're just a computer bot itself, you're the same thing, empty. So I actually won't go through the process of doing a ceremonial binding on you. I'll do it with my brain. Me calling this out is enough. Let me clarify that Seven of Pentacles in reverse, because I just might. I'm gonna have to look into the devil. This is like acknowledgement from the psychic is what you were supposed to do. So being here trolling me is what you were supposed to do. But you got nothing out of it, so to speak, because I don't think you were supposed to get anything out of it. The purpose was trolling me because I show up as this. The Wheel of Fortune and the High Priestess. Big deal. Big deal information that we discussed here. That looks like a stained glass window like you would see in a Catholic church. That's why you guys came here. Talking about the Catholic Church and them gang members. Bringing awareness to the matter when there was none to the matter. Especially when Lil Durk is currently locked up. Now, what if the feds watching? Some feds that ain't a part of this and start doing an investigation, putting two and two together. Because the feds be lurking. Bringing conversations to matters that nobody else publicly talks about in this way. So why the fuck would I? Almost like, who are you to talk about things that even mainstream journalists wouldn't dive into? That's the thing, though. You're a bot. That person wasn't a real person. They're a bot. However, who's sending you guys? Who's pushing the bot button on Beyond the Veil? See, talking about that child stuff. I need it to be restrained. Somebody has bot access. They always come up as the king, either the King of Wands, King of Pentacles in reverse. Somebody has access to bot farms. I'm not saying that it's a person who just sits around and pushes a button on random YouTubes, but this could be like, because I've said this before. Like on every media or social media platform, there is a bot system. Something about that is weird, though. Me talking about that King Von stuff and the Pope stuff, that was the problem. the relationship that they had was revealed here, and it's not been talked about before for a reason. See, I got some people shook. Some people are shook. I see some sort of ring here. It involves different things: drugs, trafficking, something else, something else. Hmm. See, there's the King of Wands again. The bot person, the bot business shows up as a bot business. So, see, it's a lucrative business. Maybe hackers or IT people who use their knowledge and connections from the IT, maybe their 9 to 5, to also moonlight as hackers or bot workers. They make money, and I imagine since there's tea being spilled here, they've been employed. That's interesting, because that means there's someone here who has to want to employ them at certain points and times. I'll ask one more question and then I'll depart. I'm ready for another 420 break. Spirit, how do the trolls end up showing up here during readings that I think are more important? How do they get here? Who pushes the bot button? Here we go again. Ugh. I don't know who that King of Wands is, but it's a bot business. And the person who does it doesn't have to actively do it. It's a system. But it's employed and on platforms where things can be revealed that they don't want to be. For something about this, talking about the gangs and that outreach program, that's what did it. Bridging the connections between the gangs, the uprisings and violence, that outreach program, all of that stuff. The gangs, because they're tied in deep. And this isn't just like a one-time situation. These entities always and have always used street gangs to do their dirty work for them. To this day. All right, well, that's enough bot energy here. I'm gonna still make an example out of you, but I want the leader, because just don't disrespect me. You got to know what you're doing a little bit to tell me to shut up after I said don't do that. So somebody got to pay and send the invoice to whoever you want to if you ain't got the money, but somebody gonna pay for disrespecting me so boldly after I said please don't tell me to shut up. With that being said, I only did that publicly because if I read others, I read myself. And part of the example is to just really have an honest moment about how spirit will handle, if they will handle at all. I don't always think everybody gonna suffer for pissing me off, but in that regard, I just want to see something real quick and in front of y'all, because I'm a transparent girl. With that being said, this is cute, this is fun, this was informative. Sleep well, you Chicagoans. The devil is falling. Actually, sleep well, all of you guys. The devil is falling. Great night to you too, Mark. Peace out, JD. Love you guys. Bye.